With pickleball, I put a little clip here, it really is taking off around the world. It's the largest growing sport post 55. The US now is really getting big, and there's a little clip here of them playing pickleball in ways that I've noticed is different in the last decade because more people are taking it up. And so this type of game, you'll be playing by the end of this term, just like this, right? So it's how to get people to use that court and be able to cover the court the way these women are in a very tight game. And what we'll do is we'll use pickleball as a vehicle to also teach sport education. So those two things link up with the idea of TGFU. And how do you make that process work in a class of kids when you start teaching is how I'm going to show today with using constraints, right, to how you adapt the game process. Right? So that's the type of thing that when I go to the park, not quite that level, but they're starting to play like that in the court around here. They're taking the tennis courts away, which is a bit annoying.
Finish anyway.
So the idea of constraints is how you as a teacher manipulate space, conditions of task, equipment, and players, the role, right, to create a better learning experience for the student in relation to the game you want to play. So you end up making a representational game that's a miniature version of the big game. And so the idea is you get them into a situation where they're playing the game using the rules, but they may not be using the right equipment that adults use. You're adapting it down. You're changing it, you're slowing it down like Joe was talking about at Pret in the forum, making it slower, and then they start to grasp it, and then gradually you extend it by adding on more challenges. And they don't have to be all at the same time, like the basic task model. You can extend it for some and simplify it for others, but they're still playing the same game. And the adaptation idea that I'll talk about today is you can have people playing it different ways, the same game. I can be covering a bigger court and this person is a smaller court. We can now play a close game. The more you bring that in, the more kids then realize the joy of winning a point tactically, even though they don't have the best skill level. Then we can play more people, right? So the whole goal of the sport should be to engage everybody in that dynamicness of what a sports that we like is all about. So when you do 4-5-2, you'll cover all the games categories. When we talk about pickleball, we're looking at net wall. So everything I talk about in tennis applies to pickleball, applies to badminton, applies to volleyball, applies to squash. There's slightly structural changes that vary, but actually tactically and the fundamental movements patterns are exactly the same. The way you perceive and read are very, very similar. So those things become a core element that you're trying to understand as a teacher, because then you're teaching that to every single kid through every single sport. They get the core to play every game. And some games they'll then specialize. Rather than covering every sport, they can actually get the idea from a couple that you really show, and then they know how to play other types of activities. And that's the notion of transferability from all sports. So here in pickleball, I'm drawing from Tennis Canada's model that you've done with me in 117. We look at how we score points, and very early in any session, you get kids playing the game as close as you can to this type of game they're going to play later on, and you adapt the scoring. So with me, you'll see 11 and 15 is the normal pickleball scoring. I use tennis scoring because I can adapt that and make a modification that helps you understand how to create tight games. And so we work towards that one, though the real game is 11 and 15. You can rally, drive, lob, drop shot. So in any session, I'm trying to do points that lead to the ability to rally. I'm also trying to get the net play, and I'm also trying to get, I can start a point. So every lesson, I'm usually combining two of these in relation to point scoring in a game. And gradually over time, extending them towards the real game of pickleball, working around that cycle of games that emphasize those elements of play. So the skills come out of that categorization. Is that good? So today I'm going to focus in on Monica on the court, get you playing that game, and then work on a progression, and then get you playing the game again better. Right? But initially when I play it, I'll make it really simple, and then gradually I'll start to extend it. So that's the game that helps me teach the basic rules and gets you understanding how to serve and start the point. Okay, so that's my focus. And then when we play, if you go online, you'll see I'm using representation, exaggeration, adaptation games. So what I want you to do is go online and go through the rest of this PowerPoint, and then see how it connects to what I'm now going to do with you live in the gym. Easy then for me to take it and reduce it down to normal height. So now the net becomes a constraint I can manipulate. Why would I have a high net? So when kids are learning for the first time, a ball that goes high, bounces, it's got lots of time, the things you're telling them, they've got time to process it, they can keep the rally going. But the teacher, when you're playing, is set up. When you look from my Google online in my Google slide, you'll see I've drawn the space. My first thing is, how do I use that space? How do I take my 19 plus 2 people and put them into a game? The part is, I want to get you into pairs. So when I put you in pairs, if I say find a partner, what happens to the kid who's not liked? Exactly, right? So whenever I do pairing, I should have a strategy, right? So if I look at this, I've got 6 here and 6 here. Find a partner with the opposite colour. In your own team, find a partner, and we'll have one group of 3. Okay? Now the rules we're going to play by is green is going to be, for this game, the back of the line. So green to the sideline, green to the sideline is our call. I want to become the monarch. So I will now serve underarm in my hand, and I can, after catch, after it bounces, I'm allowed to catch it. I'm going to try and beat Joe to get a point. To serve it, I have to get it over the net, beyond the service line, into this space, just on the serve. After that, the whole court counts. Right? So quick demo, you ready? I send it over, it's in, and the point starts. And now, oh, out, point to me. Now, Samuel had a ball, he would now come in, and now he will play jump. I go back in. Keep going, keep going. That's it. Show me, win the point. Point to you. I come in. Get off. Right. I got only one point. Go. Oh, wow. I touched it up. Right. So we keep points. Oh my God.
Kevin's abusing him.
You've all quickly learned the key rules. How to serve, what part of the court you can play in. You're starting to think about position. Right, so you've got an idea of the game. Why did I do throw catch at one end and hitting at the other? Why did I do that? Slow it down, yeah, make sure it runs, and these people all want to get the person to become the bat, right, so it adds an incentive, but it also means I've got you playing again in a simple form. I can choose whichever ball I want to use. This is the hardest, but the idea would be, I'll make my marker, I'm going to try and hit the ball above my head, and I'll try to get a bounce inside the marker. And then I'm going to try to get the other side and play it again to see if I can get it that.
That's one. That's one, baby. Good goal.
I was changing constraints to do what? What were the constraints enabling? Competitiveness, but in a way where it was always close, right? Of trying to bring in, not just at the end, if you won as Monarch, you couldn't self-rally. So then if you're attacking, take care of time by self-rallying. You're starting to use time, and I've given you tools to make you more accurate. You're already starting to hit the spaces, right? So you need time to hit those spaces. And by doing that, you're starting to set up early. So now the stroke is starting to develop. The key element about position, we call home base. What is that? There's 2 home bases. What are they? Kitchen. So here, where Mel Mel hanging out here all the time now, wasn't she? Right? She liked being here, but the other place is behind the back line. Here. So after a shot, your base decision is, do I go to this one or do I go to this one? Based on my shot. That's the same movement as in the castle game going around. It's simpler in the castle game, small target. This one you've got to decide, where do I want to be? In the space or outside the space based on my shot. Once you do that, before the ball's even bouncing to the side, you're already set up to play the next shot. Getting kids to do that, Max will tell you, that was a key thing. As soon as they figured that out, the whole game went up. Right? So that positional play and creating time gets every kid the ability to do that.